You guys nod your head if you can hear me. Okay, awesome. All right, well, we're going to get started, and I want to just welcome all of you out there that have joined us today. There's several of you, and we're excited. We have some amazing residents, as you can see on the panel, and I'm going to talk a little bit, and then we'll get to hear what all our residents have to say about moving into Bayview. A little background about Bayview. We opened up in 1961. This year is a monumental year for us here at Bayview. We have 60 years under our belt, and we're very excited about that. We are a life plan community. You might have heard it called a CCRC, the acronym for Continuing Care Retirement Community. And that basically means we have anywhere from independent living, assisted living, memory care, and skilled nursing all on one campus. We're very proud of that. A couple of wonderful things that stand out at Bayview that make us unique is we have a leash-free dog park. And speaking of parks, we have a park in front of our building that if you walk around 11 times, it's equal to 1 mile. And the residents just love it. There's also a pea patch garden out there. And the gardening has really grown a lot here at Bayview, and since we added the beautiful greenhouse on the patio. And just the residents make this front part of our yard just gorgeous. All the flowers and the lovely green grass. We also have a foundation here at Bayview. Nobody's ever been asked to leave because of running out of funds. And once a year we do the Savoy, and maybe some of you out there watching us right now have been to a Savoy. Um, this last year has been very challenging for us in many ways, and one of them is we actually did our Savoy on a Zoom. So, and went really well. I think it was monumental. Um, uh, it was great, and so all that money that came in went into the foundation to keep residents here should they run out of money at no fault of their own. We have 4 views here at Bayview, and the most sought after view is the south view. All the apartments on the south side have decks, and it's beautiful view. You have the city, and then you have the sound, and you can see Alki. My favorite view part would be at nighttime. I love the twinkling lights, and then a couple times a year, the Space Needle um, gives us a wonderful fireworks show. We are doing live tours right now, which is really exciting. I have not seen it go as crazy as it has been in the last couple weeks. I'm doing several tours a week now, and I will tell you, I'm going to grab this right here. We are doing the biggest mailer we've ever done at Bayview. This brochure was designed by Jill, our media director, and it's gorgeous. You will be probably getting one in the mail. If you don't, let me know and I will send them out. I have an extra 100. And this is a virtual open house. And we'll have lots of people participating, residents as well as staff. So it'll be a great introductory. And we're going to see, we might break the bank and have more, with 15,000 invites going out. Maybe we'll have 1,000 of you on our Zoom call to see this virtual tour. So we're pretty darn excited about that. So today's topic is about moving to Bayview, and each one of my residents here on the panel have a part of an expertise that I actually assigned to them. So, because we want to make sure it gets covered, but they're going to share their experiences in prior to moving in and moving in and getting here as a resident. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Susan. Susan, you can tell them your name is up there, but
Okay.
tell the people that are watching us, our wonderful guests out there, how long you've been at Bayview, and you might want to give a little blurb about your apartment. Where does your apartment look at, and Take it away, Susan.
Okay, thanks so much, Lee. I've been here at Bayview. Well, this coming June, it'll be a year and a half. So I moved in June of 2019, actually pre-pandemic. And I face south. I feel very lucky to have gotten the apartment that I did. And I am grateful for that view every day. My topic was, what should I bring to furnish my kitchen with things that I will actually use? And that last part of the sentence, that I will actually use, is really important as I go forward with this. First of all, it depends on what kind of kitchen your apartment has. All of the apartments are different. And some have bigger kitchens, full kitchens with a full refrigerator, 4-burner stove, a large oven, and others may just have 2 burners and a small counter. So it's important to let Lee know, what kind of kitchen you would prefer or comes close to what you would prefer. And then the second thing is, consider how much you will realistically cook in light of the varied, nutritious meals being provided every day. I knew I was not going to entertain large groups of people as I did before in my pre-Bayview days, but I still wanted to be able to have small groups in 4 to 6, including my family. And since I love to bake, I decided I would keep it very simple, and just to desserts, appetizers, maybe a small entree. And I decided that's how I would entertain going forward. I requested a kitchen, if possibly I would like a kitchen with some counter space, cupboards, a microwave, a small fridge, and a counter, what I call Breville oven. That's an oven that bakes and broils and warms. I also requested some cupboards. The 2-burner stovetop was ideal, and I still love that. I don't need more than that. And I love my counter space because not only do I do baking on there, but I do all kinds of crafts and projects on there. For those that have a small kitchen, or maybe simply a 2-burner stove and counter, there is another full kitchen at our disposal, which is down in the art studio. And pre-pandemic, when I was having my family for Christmas brunch, I got up early and I made an egg casserole and some cinnamon rolls, and I took everything down and baked them in that big studio kitchen. It's fully equipped with pots and pans and so forth, everything you need to bake or to prepare something. And so that's always an option. Once I kind of made those decisions and kind of envisioned how my kitchen, well, I kind of wanted my kitchen and what I was going to do with it, I went through each door and cupboard in my kitchen and got rid of all duplicate items. I did not need 3 sets of dishes. I did not need 5 different spatulas or 6 different round cake pans. I didn't need 2 sets of soft pans or 5 different frying pans. I took all duplicates to Goodwill. The stovetops at Bayview use magnetic bottom pans. So once I got rid of all my pots and pans, I went to Goodwill with a magnet, and I went up and down the aisle until I found 2 different size saucepans and 1 small fry pan, and that's what I brought. I got rid of my huge blender and brought my hand blender. I got rid of my large KitchenAid mixer and brought my hand mixer. I measured and photographed my Bayview drawers and cupboards, and that truly did help. I did not have room for 12 coffee mugs. I had room for only 6. And I did that with all of my dishes and things, because I knew one thing: I did not want my counters or my drawers or my cupboards to look so cramped and crowded that I couldn't find things. And I continued to cull things and give away until I had what I thought would fit comfortably in the kitchen. Even with all this preparation, I still brought too much. And within the first week at Bayview, I took another hard look at what I would need. I had a whole bookcase of cookbooks plus 8 big binders of recipes. I brought 2 cookbooks and 1 binder. I continue to entertain in small ways in which I find enjoyable and meaningful, and I cook much less than I thought I would because the food is nutritious and good. So that's how I got going with my kitchen, and it has worked very well.
Well, thank you, Susan. We really appreciate that. Great information. And everybody take note on that because she gave some really good tips on what to bring into Bayview. Our next speaker is going to be, whoops, what happened here? There we go. Our next speaker is going to be Charles. Take it away, Charles.
Hello, I'm Chuck Jackals. My wife and I, and Sue will be talking to you later, I think maybe next. We moved in last December. And so we had been here about 2 months before the pandemic hit. So we got a chance to get moved in and to start to get used to Bayview before we went into pandemic conditions. We moved about 6 blocks. We lived in a condominium on West Mercer, just down the street. And so we had downsized through the years a couple of times. And the last time we'd moved from a standard type of home in Bothell to a 1,700-foot condo. So this time we had to reduce even more, but we knew how to do it. And we had the right mental attitude for getting rid of our stuff. And so it really wasn't as challenging as it had been the first time. We were both in pretty good health, and we had about 3 months to effect our move. In addition, we'd had a lot of experience packing through the years. We'd moved across the country 4 or 5 times ourselves. The first time we stood and we watched the moving company pack every single item we owned and watched how they did it and so forth. And after that, we decided we had learned enough we could do it ourselves. And so the rest of the time we did that. We got materials and boxes and so forth and packed it ourselves. We decided we could do that again. And so we did that. Because we'd been experienced with long haul moving, we decided to pack just as if we were moving to North Carolina rather than 6 blocks. And that may seem overkill, but it's something we knew how to do, and we knew nothing would get damaged. I mean, when you pack right, it'll take everything except a major wreck. It'll survive the rest of it. So that's sort of the background of what our decision. So our decision was to use a moving company to move us. We chose one of the companies that Lee recommends. They know Bayview and they're very familiar here. But we did all of the packing. There's the book. We did all of the packing ourselves, except the major items. The mattresses, the dressers, the TV monitor, that sort of thing. We let them wrap them up the day before we moved and pack them because those are really kind of hard to do a good job of. Other than that, we had to procure materials, and that's really what Lee asked me to talk about, where we got all the materials. We need boxes, and you need lots and lots of boxes. I mean, dozens of them. So you can go to Amazon. They have lots of moving boxes from different companies. You can go to U-Haul. You can go to Uline, EcoBox, a number of places. We bought about, I'd say 60% of our boxes online from Amazon, had them delivered to the house, and about the other 40% from the local U-Haul, because I could go there in the car and pick them up and bring them home. And they're easy to return at U-Haul. So if you don't use the boxes, you can just drive them back, haul them in, and if they believe that you didn't use them, they will just refund your money right away. So we had that sort of mix. We had boxes ranging from several dozen banker boxes, which are these boxes that you use to store files in. We use those for our libraries. We had a fairly large number of books, and we decided we would have very few books once we got to Bayview. And so we packed them, and they went to the Seattle Public Library as a donation. But we needed lots of these banker boxes. So I probably ordered 3 dozen of those that I hauled down to the library over a period of 3 months. And then in the large packing boxes or in the heavy packing boxes, you get a range of sizes from small ones that are suitable for dense things like boxes to small and medium and very large for things like pillows and bedding and stuff that doesn't weigh anything. And finally, you need a significant number of what they call dish packs if you're going to pack these yourself. And these are boxes with a double wall cardboard, so they're very strong. They're about waist high, about 2 foot square, and you pack your dishes into them in a very systematic way. And when you do that, it all comes through at the end unbroken. Well, you need space to pile up this material, and you need places to put the boxes. So we found it important to start downsizing before we were ready to move. So we were giving things away. For example, in the living room, we had a sofa and a coffee table and an end table and an upholstered chair that formed sort of an arrangement. We got rid of those to one of our nieces. And that created a space then where we could start packing these boxes up and stacking them high in the living room. So we had a lot of space. We had a big dining room table, And we found that our daughter would take it if we took it apart, had it delivered and reassembled in her living room. So we did that. And then that created another space where we could put boxes and materials. You need lots of newsprint. This is that clean paper that is like they put newspaper on, but it's clean and new. You need just pounds and pounds of that because you crunch it all up and you pad everything with it, and that's your main packing material. You need some bubble wrap to wrap very precious things that you don't want to take any chance on getting broken. And you need lots of tape, many rolls of that big wide 2-inch tape to seal these boxes up. So you get all of that, and that's really all the materials you need. It's useful to have a small hand truck. We borrowed one from our neighbor to roll some of these big boxes. You can, with a dish pack, you can get one that's fairly heavy. And I have found that I don't like lifting them full as much as I did 30 years ago. So I found the hand truck to be useful to roll them around the house. And you need to mark them. You need to mark them really well with marking pens. What's in them, of course, and also where to go in your apartment here. So when we had people moving us, we put colored notes on each of the boxes, and those colors told them what room in Bayview they should move those boxes to. Now, one of the issues with packing it yourself is that you have to unpack it yourself also, of course. So you need to be somewhat systematic. And we managed to arrange things so that we could get unpacked what we needed to get our bed made, and as Jenny said, to have a place on the very first night to get our bed made and to have our bedroom functioning. The rest of the object we took time with. We took 4 or 5 days to unpack the other boxes. There's no problem with that as long as you're systematic enough so you can keep functioning while you do it. You have to get rid of all this material, and Bayview makes that fairly easy. When these boxes become empty, you knock them down and you stack them in the hall outside your door. And then you take other boxes and you fill them with all the waste paper and the plastic that you've taken off of everything, and you put those in the hall, and the physical plant just hauls them away and they disappear. So you don't have to haul all these boxes down the elevator and take them to a recycling station or anything like that. Excuse me, anything like that. The total cost, I would say we spent about $650 for the packing materials. And some of that we got refunded at the end because I had boxes I didn't use that I brought back. And whether that's a good investment or not depends a lot on how well you're able to pack them. If we'd had a bunch of things broken, that would have been a pretty poor investment. But considering that absolutely nothing got broken and so forth, it seemed like a reasonable thing to do. And neither one of us was working at the time, so we had the time to put in on packing and to get that done. So that's sort of the other way to approach it from what Jenny just described. The one thing I would say is having a moving company that's familiar with Bayview, and Lee knows some of them, is really important because they know who the physical plant people are here and how they have to get elevators reserved and what they have to do so not to step on toes of other people who need to use the elevators and so forth. And you don't have to teach them about that. They know where the loading dock is. They know not to bring a great big truck and sprawl it all over the street out there and block the neighborhood. They understand all that ahead of time. So that's sort of what I had to say about that. And
Awesome. Thanks, Chuck.
mm-hmm.
I'm going to take a little commercial break here. And all of you that are on hopefully got my email. I sent you a part of a moving manual. This one is the full one, and then I sent you a sample version. But the residents have been very kind and given me lots of great tips to put in this. And this is, when you make your decision, you pick out that apartment, we're going to present you with this. And hopefully, as you can hear from the residents on the panel, how important good help is to get it done. All right, you will be able to ask me questions. I see some questions already popped up down below, and I will, when we get close to the end, we will take questions, and you can even ask the panelists if you have questions from what they talked about. So the next person we're going to hear from is Sue. Go ahead, Sue.
Hi, everybody. I hear there's a number of you who are thinking about moving into Bayview or are going to move into Bayview. First, I just want to say how excited we are for you and how we look forward to you being here and how we're really glad that we can take this part in helping you go through some of those more difficult decisions. As I listened to Chuck's presentation and Jenny's presentation, I'm right at this moment wishing that we had considered the moving management company a little bit stronger before we moved. So that's the first decision you have to make. And there are some considerations. For example, cost. Jenny tells me it took between 5,000 and 6,000 for the moving management company. I think overall, when we added up everything that we spent for doing it ourselves, it was about 3,000. And of course, it depends on how much you move and how long you take with the moving company, but that's how much we experienced trying to do it the most efficiently. I think, I would think about the moving management company myself. Um, and especially if you have energy considerations for yourself or physical limitations, if it's a complicated move, if you have more downsizing that you're going to do, if you're going to sell your house or your condo as a part of the process, that puts a telescoping effect on everything needs to be done in sequence, boom, boom, boom. And so it puts a time limit on you, and you really could use the help. So, assuming you're going to decide to pack and use a moving company to transport your goods, there's some considerations. You will have picked out your Bayview apartment ahead of time. Jenny talked about some of the things that the moving management company did with preparing them to move. You need to have a very good mental picture of what your apartment is like so that you will know things that you can keep and how much you'll be able to move and how much you'll have to get rid of. So do detailed management measurements, create an accurate floor plan, take pictures of every room, take pictures of every cabinet, every closet, measure the feet of hanger space that you're going to have. Just make all the measurements you can, because that's really going to help you make decisions, and it gives you a realistic mental picture of where you're going to be moving to. Then you're going to go through the same categories that Jenny went through, sorting your belongings. It's really fun to be creative about taking things to Bayview. You can pick the very best. You can pick things that match each other and get rid of the things that didn't belong. If you love something, say you love doing something. I love gardening. I couldn't imagine moving without continuing to garden. So don't throw out all your gardening stuff. Bring some. I commandeered my husband's steel cabinet that he had his tools in. He wasn't going to bring the tools. I put my gardening stuff in that. It's out on our deck. I can garden all I want. Sewing, knitting, other things. Just don't walk away from the things you love. Make sure that you bring them. Cooking was another thing. I cook on the margins, I say. I make soups, salads, salad dressings, just little things that really make a difference for me. So I wanted to make sure that I brought things for those. You need to decide on what things you're going to give to your family. In our case, we have a lot of millennials and they didn't want very much stuff. So what we decided to do was similar to their auction that Jenny described. We took pictures of everything and we put it on a OneDrive and distributed that link really widely to family. We had people from afar taking things. We we didn't want to put restrictions on their use. My niece, who has 5 kids, she surprised me. She took a lot. And her husband very respectfully asked if he could saw up some of the bookcases to make desks. And we said, of course, do whatever you want with them. So that really helped in getting rid of things. And it gives me a lot of comfort knowing that our things have a new life in our family. Of course, you're going to decide what you're going to give to charity, or we didn't ever contemplate having an auction or a yard sale or garage sale. It just wasn't something we wanted to embark on. But we found a company. It was called the College Hunks, and Hunks stands for an acronym. They will take your things that you want to give to charity, and um, you will not have to find a charity to take that couch that you've got. They will they will move all your stuff out. They will put it in a big warehouse. They invite the charities to come in and take what things. And in this day and age, where a lot of people are homeless or are trying to move back into situations where they have apartments, we hope that a lot of the stuff that we move through them is finding a place of use for people. And they also will take everything that even the junk, and if they can't get rid of it through charities, they will take it to the dump for you. Then, of course, at the end, there are things that you're going to have to throw out and deal with, your electronic stuff, your hazardous waste, etc. That all has to be dealt with as you're embarking on your packing. So, like Chuck said, get a lot of your downsizing done before you ever start packing. Allow 1 to 2 months for packing and get all that equipment and boxes that you need as a part of the whole process. In general, packing, like we said, is similar whether you're going 3,000 miles or 6 blocks if you don't want things to get broken. And I'm really happy that we did that. And then, of course, we used a moving company that was familiar to Bayview. Chuck's already talked about that. It's also helpful if you gain access to your apartment a couple of days before the move so that you could go in and just spend some time in there and make some last minute adjustments. When my husband saw the closet and the drawers that were in the closet, he said, I don't really need my dresser. So we made a last minute downsizing of getting rid of the dresser. We also decided to bring over pictures and plants so they didn't have to be transported by the moving company. And then finally, on the moving day, one of us came ahead with the plans so that when the movers arrived with an item, we could instruct them exactly where to put it so it would be in its permanent location. So all of those things are what we experienced with moving. And I just wanted to welcome you again and hope that I get a chance to talk to some of you as you are planning to come to Bayview.
Awesome. Thanks, Sue. All right, our next person talking is going to be Chris, and Chris is going to talk about floor plans and their importance. Take it away, Chris.
Hi, everyone. As Lee has already mentioned, there is a move-in manual, and that's the best place to start to looking at floor plans because provides about 5 basic floor plans that you can take a look at it. Review these, make a list of questions that you may have, and then ask Lee to see units so you can visit them and get better ideas. And then when you do that, make sure when you make a visit that you have something that you can make measurements with and photographs that you can take, because this is invaluable as it's already been described ahead by Sue and others in trying to make the assessments that you need to make, of what you're going to bring, what you're going to take, what's going to be downsized. And then Sue's idea about once you've made a decision, coming back and spending some time with it is really good. It's a real big job in downsizing. And so really making a lot of assessments ahead of time is really helpful. Lee also has a floor plan templates that can be helpful to some on how to set things up in your apartment. Our experiences are all different from multiple moves to downsizing a little bit before and others, but there's been a lot of good tips. I think the moving management companies can be a great help, especially if you haven't done some steps of downsizing from a home to a condo or things like that ahead of time. There's so much between helping you make the assessments, doing packing, moving, setting up, and those sort of things. I'm open to any questions, but looking at the floor plans, getting an idea, and then taking a look and making measurements and photographs so that you can go back and sort through your things.
All right, thank you, Chris. Our next person is Carol. Go ahead, Carol. She's going to talk about what to do before you move.
Top priorities. And the first one is going to sound very familiar because unless you've been living a monastic lifestyle, you have a lot of stuff. So I encourage you, get in touch with your inner ruthlessness and prune your belongings with ruthlessness. There is not room in your new place at Bayview for everything you own, guaranteed. I have a new neighbor who has been here 2 months and she's still agonizing over what to bring from her old house and what to do with the stuff that she does have here already. So prune, prune ruthlessly. It will make you much happier in the long run if you do that. Some of the decisions are simple and they're similar to what's already been said. But for instance, I got rid of my big vacuum cleaner. I kept my little hand vac. Good choice. I got rid of my Swiffer mop. Oops, that one had to be replaced. There are decisions that you will make later, but by and large, most things you need are replaceable. So get rid of it before you move. Number two, you all know about the change of address form with the post office. I learned this year that after the year of forwarded mail, mail that goes to my old address disappears into the ether, wherever undeliverable mail goes to die. There are people and organizations that you want to hear from. Tell them directly that you have a new address. I didn't have all the tax documents I needed this year because I had not noticed that those documents came forwarded rather than to my new address. Take care of that one. And the third top priority for me at any rate is get renter's insurance. We've all lived long enough to know things happen. So you want to make sure you protect yourself for that inevitable something's gonna happen. Okay, back to you, Lee.
All right, thanks, Carol. Our next person to talk, it's a dynamic duo. It's Michael and Dieter. Take it away, Michael.
Perfect. Hi, folks. I'm Michael, and this is Dieter, my buddy. I'm going to talk to you today about moving in with your pets, whether it be cat, dog, fish, or whatever. I think the biggest stress or situation I want to mention is socializing your pet to the area and also to his new surroundings. If at all possible, what we were able, because we lived in the neighborhood, we're taking walks and Bayview area streets on our daily walk. We were able to meet several of the residents that had pets, so they became friends already. And the lower Queen Anne area and upper Queen Anne area is perfect for dog walks or just for walkings of your pets. There's a lot of green park areas for on-leash fun. Also too, on Bayview in the southwest corner, we have an off-leash area, which is wonderful for the pets. I also suggest that your pets accompany you on all your walkthroughs and your meetings so that they get accompanied to the area and the folks in the building and the residents and other maintenance folks and just the common areas. Moving day is a big adjustment for everyone involved. So even though you would make a moving kit for yourself, I suggest you do one for your pet. Besides the toys, treats, and maybe a crate or blanket for them, bring anything and everything that has their scents on, the blankets, the coverings you may use for the furniture, just so they bring any scent of him and you for home to your new home, because it is a bit of a shock and adjustment for both you and the pet, but it all works out wonderful. And Dieter's got more friends here than ever, right, Dieter? Thanks, Lou.
All right, thank you. And last but not least, we're going to have Marianne talk about work orders.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, work orders are wonderful things because you have one number, you call downstairs, you press O and you get the receptionist, and she puts a work order out for whatever you need. Now, when you're moving in, you might need a few more work orders than otherwise. The people here will hang pictures for you, even in concrete. And they even helped me assemble a lamp I bought that I could not figure out how to put it together. So it is truly wonderful. This is one of the things I loved about moving. I don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. I have somebody I can call. At one point, my sink was a little slow, and they came right up and took care of it. Now, they say give it 48 hours from the time you place a work order for something to be done. And that's fine, but they've always come much quicker for me. And then you have to realize that if somebody has an emergency, you will get bumped down one. But they get here and they do a really good job. I'm just thrilled. I absolutely had, they replaced the heaters at Bayview, they upgraded everything, and mine was giving me a little trouble, and they came and replaced the whole thing. So it's wonderful. That's all I can say. Work orders are magic.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so we have several people out there that have been watching, and it looks like we've got some questions coming through. So I'm going to click over here, and I will read them, and we'll get some answers. So the first question is, how big is your unit, and how long is your sofa? So why don't a few of you answer that? Most of you live in one bedrooms, I think. There is a couple 2 bedrooms, but go ahead and answer that. How about you, Susan? Go ahead.
Well, we didn't bring our big sofa. We brought 2 love seats. We bought, one was a love seat that actually had a single bed, hide-a-bed. So if we have a guest, we have a place for a guest to sleep. And the other hide-a-bed, the other love seat is a lazy boy recliner love seat, which we have in front of our TV. Those are entirely sufficient. You don't want to fill all your floor space with furniture. I've been to a couple apartments where they tried to bring everything, and you literally have to go around in between the furniture, and you can't walk a straight line. I would say err on the side of bringing less. And if you do feel you want a sofa, buy a smaller one later after you get here. That'll be good.
IKEA. IKEA has the small, and Scandia. Okay, this next question, she wants everybody, or they want all of you to answer. So I'm going to speak to it to start, and then I'll let you guys all tell your experience. The question is, did you move directly into the apartment of your first choice, or did you move into a temporary apartment first? So that's my magic. I get everybody rallied around as the marketing director and get people wanting to move in. And sometimes those apartments, those dream apartments, are not quite ready. So we have this opportunity where you can select your second or maybe third choice and move in. The great thing about that is whatever you paid coming in, that will be 100% applied to your dream apartment. I have a resident that wanted a south-facing 1-bedroom, and she took a north-facing apartment, and it didn't even take 2 weeks for that south-facing apartment to show up for her. So that is an extreme case. Not everybody gets it right away like that, but that is an opportunity that can happen. So here's what I'm going to do. If you're a panelist that moved into a temporary apartment first, and you're either waiting or you did get your dream come true, raise your hand, wave it, and let's see how many of you. See, we got people out there. And then that means the others got their dream apartment right off the bat. And that doesn't mean that you cannot change your mind. I've had people tell me, Lee, this is what I want, and then I keep extremely organized records because I know how important it is for people to get what they want. But sometimes I come knocking on the door and I tell them, oh, your dream apartment's ready. And then they go, we're not going to move. Why? Because we love our floor and we love our neighbors. We don't want to move. So that happens too. So if you go ahead and share an experience, for those of you that waved your hands, take turns and talk about waiting or getting your second apartment later or first.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, we chose to move into a smaller unit and wait for what Lee would say is a dream apartment. We knew there were going to be some that were being remodeled and combined, and it was well worth our time to wait because we did need more space. I have a husband who is 6'5", and a small one bedroom was not big enough with him. But it was well worth the wait. And as Lee said, we did get very attached to a lot of the people on the floor that we were living on, but they're still close and our friends. And we're very happy with what we have in the space we have now.
Awesome. Anybody else?
When I moved here, the unit wasn't quite ready. But what was wonderful that you had arranged, Lee, was the furniture was moved onto the floor that I'd be moving onto in several units. So when it was completed in several weeks, it wasn't a big trouble to move it down the hallway and get it in. I moved a lot of the stuff myself, and especially, as I was saying before, Dieter's items so that he felt comfortable in the new home. And then he had the outside deck that he was loving back and running back and forth on. So no, it all worked out fine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share?
Yes, Sue and I had wanted to get a 2-bedroom, preferably with a south-facing view, and those are a little bit scarce, and the waiting list looked like it might be quite a little while. So we decided instead to take a suggestion that Lee had, and she had what she called a disjoint 2-bedroom, where she had a 1-bedroom, which is 2 modules, about 50 feet away on the same floor from an alcove, which is kind of a swollen 1-bedroom. I mean, a swollen studio. It's one room with a little bulge off on the side. And so we took that. So basically we have 3 rooms, as we would have in the apartment we hope to get. And we moved into the alcove, and that's where we sleep. And that's where we have breakfast. And right behind me, you see a blind that's pulled so that the camera can photograph me. But that's the view of downtown from there. And then we have another room with 2 modules, a 1-bedroom unit down the hall. It's very nice. I mean, we like this very much, and when a 2-bedroom becomes available, we'll probably move, but we certainly could stay here a lot longer and be very happy with it as it is.
The next one I have is, let's see. I missed the name of the moving company operated by women that packed and unpacked the movers. So that moving company, actually right here, we have 2 of them, and I promote both of them. And the one is called Next Steps, yes. Isn't it?
Yes, I'm sitting right next to Lee, so I am here but not photographed. It was Next Step Transitions, and it's run by a woman who comes to your house and gives a free consultation to begin with, and then she has a crew of women who do the work. I'm going to add in one more tip that hasn't been asked, but I have a husband who is a lawyer, so our collection of books was tremendous, and he was having a great deal of trouble parting with those. So what I finally did was realized what bookcases we were taking, and I measured them. And I told him in advance that he could fill them up with as many books as could possibly fit, but that had to be it. So he was forced to make some decisions about what books would go with us to Bayview.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. The other company that I want to tell you about and has had equal success is Moves Made Simple. And there, Katie goes into your home and she'll take pictures shelf by shelf of like your bookshelves. And when you come back after she's unpacked you, it's all in the same order that it was at your house. So she is a magic, she has the magic touch. So that comes in your little moving in manual. And we'll talk about that when we get one-on-one. All right, how big is the storage bins? So it depends on what apartment you move into. If you move into a studio or an alcove, I loved your description of what that is, Chuck. A swollen studio. You are going to get a 3 by 3 by 3 feet square storage unit. If you move into a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom or a premium apartment, you're going to get 7 feet tall by 3 feet by 3 feet. And they're quite lovely. Uh, the residents really like those, and there is no extra charge for those. I know a community I worked at prior to Bayview, it was $130 extra a month for about half of what we're giving away for free. So, um, all right, let's see. How many people are on your wait list? You know, I had such a flux last week that like 7 people sent in checks to get on the wait list. I think as we're coming out of this pandemic, that they're really getting excited about moving and want to be here at Bayview, which we love. So there are ways to go around that huge wait list, and that is by doing what we talked about previously, taking an apartment that's a second or third choice, getting you in, because truly the residents get first pick on apartments. And so some people that have been on my wait list, you know, I've been here almost 6 years now. Um, some of them are like, how come it's taken so long? Well, then I tell them about, why don't you come in and take a north or east or west facing apartment, and then you come on the internal list. And usually on the internal list, it's no more than two right now. There's 2 people on it, and that means that when those apartments come up, they will get it. Of course, the 2 bedroom, 2 bath facing south is the most sought after apartment. And one of our panelists right now, I won't tell you who, but they're next in line, and they're really excited about being able to get that 2 bedroom, two bathroom
Lee,
stuff. Yes,
Lee, hi, can I put in something here?
sure.
Oh, yeah. When I came here 2 years ago, and so my daughter said, why don't you just move into a 1 bedroom without that view and wait? So I did that, but in the meantime, other apartments do have views. I have a view of the Space Needle, and I also have a view of Mount Rainier. You have to sort of edge over to see it a little bit, but it is there. And the apartment is very spacious and airy, and I love it. So I don't even want to move anymore. But yeah, all of the apartments are lovely.
They truly are. I agree. I mean, I worked at a place where one whole view was all dumpsters, and when those garbage trucks start pulling in around 5:30 in the morning, it was living hell for all those people. And we gave really cheap rent because most people, about a week of that garbage pickup and they're done. So we're really blessed at Bayview. All our views are fabulous. All
I want to
right.
comment too.
Sure, go ahead.
We have a northwest corner apartment, and it has an absolutely lovely view of the entire Puget Sound and the Olympics, and a beautiful area view of the neighborhood in Queen Anne that makes you feel like you're living in a neighborhood. And then our other apartment is an alcove with a city view. So we're totally spoiled. We have both major types of views, and we absolutely love it.
We just did our questions and answers. And the last thing I want to talk about is we have a special offer. This is a couple that live here at Bayview, Barbara and Rick. And I just love this picture. It's just, this is who they are too. Very joyful, really wonderful people, like all of our residents here. So we have a special offer going on right now. When you commit to moving into Bayview, we're going to give you your first 2 months rent and food for free. And you have to be signed up and ready to move. You don't have to physically be here, but you got to have that financial commitment to by June 1st. I have 9 apartments. 4 of those have already been spoken for. So there's definitely I read an article that said there's going to be a tsunami of new residents in the summer, that as the vaccines have come out and things are going to open up, which we're all praying that it happens very soon. We are really blessed that we have the opportunity with our staff and our residents that we had made available to get the vaccine. And I hope that all of you out there that want that, you're able to do it. It's a challenge. I haven't got my husband a shot yet. And so I'm hoping that'll happen very soon. So if you are interested, please give me a call and come in and have an in-house tour. And if you want to be invited to my open house, the virtual open house on April 20th, I will need your address. I have 100 invites sitting on my desk that I ordered extra. So we'd love to send those out. And when you give me your address, you can also have other things sent to you for events and happenings here at Bayview. We used to do lunch and learns. We're getting fired back up. We're going to be doing some again on Zoom. So I will be sending out second quarter activities and events at Bayview. So you don't want to miss out anything. It's really fun, and it's a great opportunity to get to know people here at Bayview. I want to thank all you residents that took time out today to be here for our guests, and just enjoy. Don't forget to turn your clock ahead 1 hour next week. I'm going to be really excited to see how light it stays. Not so excited about the darkness coming back in the morning, but that'll be gone soon enough. So thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you again real soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Lee.
Lee. Bye, everyone.